What it do, guys? Yeah, so I just wanted to get in here really quick. I was just kind of in the middle of some admin work and figured, let me document kind of what was going through my mind. I felt like this may be easier for me too to try to chop up in the future. Let me put out some more content, but at the same time, I felt like I think this is something worth talking about and wanted to share it. Give me 1 second. So, got a couple notes here. But yeah, guys, so basically, we're just kind of going through some admin work and kind of going over the past month's outreach and, kind of iterating what can we do better, what is going well, and things like that, just basic stuff. And it got me thinking. First things first, my business partner and I, Terry, we've been going ham when it comes to figuring out systems. And what I mean by systems can be basically anything that you can put in place, give to someone else, and have them replicate it, basically. Something that's, done over and over and over and over. And one company that I've studied before is McDonald's. And the reason why is because they built such a great system that it revolutionized what's known as now fast food for history, and how they've been able to adapt such a simple system, in a sense simple, but system to actually replicate over and over and over. And when you kind of study great companies like that, they make you understand how important, excuse me, they let you understand how important it is to kind of create these systems at the beginning of starting anything. And that's one thing that I kind of thrive on, is figuring out what works, why it works, and how it works, basically. With, kind of starting something new, especially a startup, what's the easiest way to say that? I think you eventually come to a crossroad where people tell you what to do. And, at the beginning, you're very new. You're new. There's ignorance tax, we like to call it, where you're going to take advice from people who are quote unquote doing it, but you just don't know if it works or not because you haven't did it yourself, right? So what we've learned was speed is going to be our best friend or our worst enemy. And what do I mean by speed? Basically, when we see something that's kind of working, or we see something else that someone's doing, we try to rush to do it, because we have the philosophy that we rather do it as soon as possible and fail, God forbid, but we rather fail and learn from it, so no such thing as failing. Learn from it, learn the lessons from it, and then sometimes even make it better. And I think especially for me, so this is coming from me personally, kind of going into this role with my business partner, at first I was like, okay, where do I have my advantage? Where do I have my expertise? Like, where do I find that kind of like, this is my area? And just a little bit, those who don't know me, from, my past is just very creative. I have that imaginatory type of energy that I need to be creative. I need to be drawing something, I need to be doodling, photography, film, music. That's kind of always been my like cool area to like my realm that I play in. But on the other hand, I love business. I love, like I said, systems. I love the analytical side of it. I love numbers. Terry can attest to that. But I love numbers, and I like to see how things work. So, going into the business, I was like, okay, cool. So I have the creativity side, like ad copy, familiar with things like that, creative. But also on this side, I do love the analytical side of it and coming up with solutions. And I mean, that's basically what owning a business is. you have to be creative in a sense where, yeah, okay, unless you're an artist or unless you're, a producer, things like that, yeah, you have to be, a specific type of creative. But when it comes to like fundamental business practices, you have to be creative in your solutions. And just to go a little bit deeper on that, by being creative in your solutions, you're actually experiencing what it is to problem solve, right? And with the whole AI automations and AI solutions, basically, you're constantly going to come up to businesses with something that may have worked for maybe the same exact niche and industry in the past or someone you've helped, but it may not work for their business. And what do I mean by that? Basically, if your solution, quote unquote, your AI solution, if it's harder to implement, meaning, yeah, okay, they have a certain workflow right now that's working for them, and there is a specific problem that you could fix, but to get to that problem being solved, it takes a lot more of their workflow. It's like you're kind of, you're hustling backwards in a sense. So it's about finding the right solution for the right problem that your system, remember, it's a system, you can plug into that business. And this is something that was just kind of going through my head today. And I was, briefly looking at like kind of our cold outreach or cold email outreach analytics. And this is something like me and Terry just spoke about not too long ago, where, we've been kind of running a couple campaigns that, we've had like 3 campaigns in the past 2 months that we've been testing. 2 of them kind of we scraped. They were kind of crap. Just didn't see any benefit of them. And then one of them we kept. And with that one, we've noticed, about a 60% open rate, which is really good. That's out of 10,000 emails sent. So we saw that working, but we weren't getting the book calls that we needed from it. And this is where the analytical and creativity of being an entrepreneur, being a business person kind of really comes at a crossroad, where you have the data, you have the analytics and numbers. Obviously the creativity is there because a 60% open rate is really well. That's a really big difference in what's usually known in the industry. But it's just not converting. And at the end of the day, we needed to get from A to B. We need to have this working as a system where we know no matter what, we can pinpoint exactly what's not working. So if it's like, okay, you have an open rate that's really good, but they're not getting on calls. Okay, what's the problem? Should we change our offer? Should we change our approach? Should we change our leads list? You know what I mean? Like it's where's the pain? Where's the bottleneck that we have to find in our business? And this kind of helps you grow. And what do I mean by grow? Like now we have faced an issue in our own business that we can now relate to, and we can now approach businesses with a different set of opportunities that we can solve. If we can solve this with AI, even better. You know what I mean? Like we're kind of building use cases throughout our own business, and now, okay, we saw the results, it worked for us, and now we can present it to another business, which many businesses go through this, obviously. So this is something that, just kind of coming across my mind, and I just kind of wanted to talk about it, where, setting up the systems is very important. It's something that you have to get used to in a sense, because you're always going to kind of reiterate things as you go. Gary Vee's a really good, Gary Vee's great, but he mentioned this one thing is where like when he's like checking out of, or he's going through customs and, going through different countries for his occupation, he puts firefighter, because as an entrepreneur, you're always putting out fires, you're trying to solve problems, X, Y, Z. And I kind of always keep that in the back of my head where like your job for you to scale and get to a point where like you're happy, you have to have that kind of mentality in you. It can't just happen one day like, oh, okay, I'm going to put this fire out. Like, no, it has to be like 100% grind mode. And yeah, that's just kind of what was going through my head, and I feel like documenting it. But to make a long story short, you have to build your systems as you go. This isn't something that's just going to come overnight. It's going to take time and collecting data. But yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of documenting more like these. I kind of like this style where I'm able to just kind of like spit it all out on video, and who knows, chop it up later. Who knows, save it for the vault. I don't even know if I'm going to post this, but yeah, I just wanted to get on here and kind of go through that. Hopefully you guys can grow with me together. Appreciate you, and yeah, stay blessed, guys.